I'll be fast and I'll keep up.
We're on.
Yep.
We'll call our April meeting for the Newburg R2 Board of Education to order. And if you'll please stand with me to salute our flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, we have Mr. Brookshire and Mr. Shushank absent, and 5 members present. Approval of the agenda, we need to add one item to the agenda. We'll put it as action item E for the agenda. I have a board member resignation letter to read at the end, so we'll need to add that. With that, I need a motion to approve the agenda with the one addition.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thompson, second, Mrs. Wells. Are there any other additions? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. No public comment. Consent agenda. We have minutes from the March meeting and the ledger for the financial statement. Any questions on those?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Birdsong, second, Mrs. Wells. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0. Approval of the bills. You saw that there's a credit card changed just a little bit. You saw those additions plus 2 other bills, O's and something else. Got off the top of my head, right?
Pose and HFL had a work that they did. They
Yeah.
installed the intercoms.
Go right ahead.
Motion. Motion, Mr. Thompson, to approve the bill, second, Mrs. Wells. You're on it tonight. Any further discussion? If not, now that pays, have we paid Wayne's bills? No, sorry, Wallace's tuition for VOTEC, because I saw Waynesville VOTEC was on there, that's what.
Well, I thought I seen RTI on here.
You said that was
Raw
Waynesville,
came
right?
in, did it come in 2 parts?
But the Waynesville,
I feel like Raw came in 2 parts each semester, and I
Have
think
we-
it's,
paid it already?
I thought we
I
had.
think, I know we've made a payment, just put that,
I
Yeah,
thought
I
we
think
had.
it's
we made a
Last
payment, I
meeting,
don't
we
know
were
if that was the
talking about
amount, total amount or not, I didn't know.
I think it's semesterly,
Yeah, I think it was 2 of them. We were questioning why it was.
if I remember right.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Reports. Who wants to go first? Mr. Dunn?
Sure.
Mrs. Wright went first last time. You have 3 minutes.
I'll try to. So.
Kidding.
2.5. There, and I know a lot of what I have, I know Miss Wright has, or Miss Kingsley has, so.
Shorter.
I didn't read
Haven't got the information yet, so down to 2.
PD Day went well, book tasting, trying to encourage professional learning with the staff, so we're gonna give them some materials over the summer to increase their growth, so that actually went pretty well. And some of the teachers were like, I can't decide, I can't pick just one. Like, I'll get you 2. Like, if you're wanting to grow, I'll get you another one. So we've had, some staff, I'll get an extra one too. So the girls basketball coaches came and met with the team. That was just, it was a great, it was a good time.
We saw
Good
that.
turnout, good
Saw that
turnout
on
from the kids.
On the website.
Yeah.
It was good.
Good turnout from the kids. Got a lot of junior high kids out, so that's good too. The coaches are excited. I think we were in a really good spot from where we've been to where we're going, having 2 of their caliber come in. So pretty fortunate. FFA had another blood drive. There's a good turnout. So not only does the blood save lives, but this does the more the turnout, the more scholarship money we get. So that's a good thing. We had a good relationship with our Army recruiter, and he was on campus leading track and golf through various team building exercises. He also comes at lunch sometimes too, and got a good relationship with him. The anatomy and physiology students had a good time at the cadaver lab, and so this yearly experience. I mean, kids need to know, like, man, I want to take anatomy and physiology because we get to go to this cadaver lab. You know, it's a really cool experience for them to. By the way, they're dissecting a pig, and the kids came into my office this morning with they couldn't wait to show me the small intestine, and there were 4 of them holding it out. And I've got a picture. I hadn't gone online yet, but they're having a good time dissecting that pig. Lots of good stuff out of anatomy and physiology. Various recruiters,
You'll
military.
put that online, right?
I might.
Okay.
They're
I
all-
just getting prepared.
I just put dissecting
Doug's like,
the pig on a
nope.
couple of days ago. I
Yeah,
just
that
put
was-
dissecting the pig a couple of days ago, but I haven't. I've got a picture. I just haven't.
That's
They were
fine.
excited.
I just,
Yeah. Right. Miss Jackson, we got to go show Mr. Dunn this. So they came over right in the office. Still planning and recruiting for summer school, so I mean we're getting a pretty good idea what that's going to look like. But we're talking about recruiting students too, because we've got to try to increase our numbers. So we're still working on that. Prom was a big success. Mrs. Peary, Mrs. Hans did a really good job leading that. We had a lot of help with students and parents and staff as far as decorating and providing food and all that stuff. And Jay Hartman did a really good job of just being the DJ. And we had students from other schools saying, this is better than my school. You know, I'm talking about bigger schools. And so it really was a good evening. And he gave the school a really good deal because he loves Newburg. So that's a really cool thing. Miss Sushank is planning vaccination clinic for kids who are supposed to have required vaccinations. And so that's going to be a really good thing if we get the vaccinations here, so parents don't have to worry about scheduling that, taking off work and all that. So I don't know if we got a date set on that, but she's been working on that. I think it's worth noting Miss Hildebrand's had various guest speakers in her careers class trying to introduce her kids to different careers and different people. And I know Tony's been a part of that.
I'm next, so
Oh, I thought you.
I haven't
thought you
been
did, so
yet.
you're coming in. We had a chemistry professor here recently too, from S&T, and just lots of
who
neat.
was it?
What's that?
Who was it?
Um, I didn't write his name.
Science.
Recent or
Little side.
retired?
He's
No,
current.
he's still
Current,
there.
current. Yeah, current.
Then I won't know. it.
Well, I had
won't
his
know it.
son in
Go
preschool,
ahead.
his oldest
What's
son.
his name? Can't go on it.
I always called him Stubby because that was what his nickname was. No, like that's what his wife, like we all,
Oh, the official.
like, that was- so that's not his real name.
Sure,
but
that's what he wants. Everybody figures.
Now that's on the internet.
Like you and your hat.
That's why she's not looking back.
Looking at the camera today, aren't we?
You and your hat.
We've got a couple of girls from Girls State, Vanessa Hall and Brooklyn Fight. Really appreciative of Mayor, the Association of Rural Educators.
Yeah.
They provided, they fully funded Vanessa's Girls State experience. They have partially funded, they had some extra money or an extra donor come in. They partially funded Brooklyn's. And so we'll work to secure the remainder of that, for her. It was just a great experience. I don't know if anybody here went to Boys State or Girls State, but it's a phenomenal, yeah, it's awesome. And then close with the honor band we had last week. Mr. Wells did a phenomenal job organizing that. He had a lot of help. He was the one organizing and leading. Did a phenomenal job. It went smoothly. It was a great evening. So it was just a good opportunity to showcase our school. And I will say, we had a lot of visitors on campus, staff members from other schools. And one of the things we shared with our custodial staff was they were complimented. It was just how well the building looked, not just the facilities in general, but the cleanliness of the buildings were noticed. And I had, in particular, one school come to me and say, I want you to know, I want you to hear this. I want you to know how good your custodians are doing. That's why. So we pass that on to them. So that's always really encouraging to hear that when stuff like that stands out.
Yeah.
So.
Everyone just needs a school load of doers.
I think I had my one
You'll
doer.
You'll be retired 10 years and they'll still think.
But phonics, sad.
That's say that.
Do.
Sometimes that education lets you down.
That
One
was
of
a
the things
good
that-
moment.
When I told the custodians that, I'm like, you may not be in front of the classroom delivering instruction, but there's plenty of research that shows that kids perform better in a cleaner building. And so what you do It's very, very.
Oh, yeah, and you feel
And
pride
so,
in what you
and
have.
then it's recognized too by visitors coming in. I just,
So it's a good thing. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Dunn? No, that's right.
Well, we got a short meeting, so let's not get started.
That's right.
You can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait for him to start the timer.
Go Wolves.
All right, at the elementary side of things, we had our family engagement reading night with Title I on March 25th. We did not have, I'll just say it, we didn't have a good turnout. But we've got some things on our minds to do for next year to make it, I think it's going to be a lot better next year. Angela and I have got some ideas. So we'll kind of start planning that more right off the bat at the beginning of the year. So. Our 4th through 6th grade music concert will be Tuesday night coming up, April 22nd at 6 p.m. Our 1st through 3rd grade, they did take a field trip to Bear River Ranch. That's the name of it. Everybody just kept calling it the ranch. The actual name is Bear River Ranch. So the kids did come back and tell me they were holding snakes and different things. So I think they had a pretty good time up there. Pre-K, they're going to go on their annual zoo trip coming up the 25th of April. Legends Bank was here today talking with 5th grade. I'm not sure how that went. I haven't got the gist of that because I was at Edgar when they were here. So I didn't get to peep in on that. But they have their own piggy banks to keep, and they're learning how to save money. So.
Important
Gearing
part of
up for
life.
map testing, map everywhere. I do want to give a shout out to Dawn McClanahan. She has worked and worked and has done a ton of behind the scene things too that was kind of thrown upon her, and she's taken it like a champ and done a very good job. So she was just leaving a while ago whenever I was getting ready to come down here. So I made sure she knew, I see you, I see what you're doing. So
What's our dates on that?
the map dates, they start next week with 5th grade science.
Next week.
And working on summer school enrollment, I did go to Edgar today with Brian and Kelsey and Jessica. We went over there and went to each classroom, talked to all the kids. They did a really good job of hyping it up. So I think we'll probably get quite a few kiddos from over there. So, I did a Facebook post on that as well for summer school. Student enrollment, I have 157 kids and our attendance is 94.93%.
Pretty solid.
Sounds like pretty solid.
Yes.
Would
Push
you-
them up at this
That sounds good. Almost 95%, sounds like a pretty good number.
In the past, we had sent a bus over there for summer school kids.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Mr. Newburg,
Very good.
Yeah.
Any questions for Mr. Wright?
What's wrong?
Nothing today.
He's making fun of my name.
Oh, I kind of missed it. I was really like, what did I
He's
miss?
making fun of me.
Put the glasses on. I
Good
came
thing
here.
she's in a good mood today.
She's always, she is wrong sometimes.
Brave man.
It's hard being right every day.
Yeah. You knew that was coming. How could it not?
Hey, that could be Mr. Dunn's
I
bad
think,
dad joke.
I'm pretty sure Doug is done with all of the jokes.
Let's go. Going south fast.
They rolled
Okay,
they're
bring us out.
Well, just a little bit about financial stability. Preliminary budget is in your packet, and a few details on that we can discuss tonight. This is the reassessment year, and talked to Phelps County Assessor, and they're anticipating we'll see about 12.5% increase. Pulaski is about similar too, but they don't impact us quite as much. SAT is sitting at 6760. Right now, because that's where the governor's proposed that to be. However, we had planned on that being 71.45. And that's a big difference for us. It makes a big difference in our operating budget, and so just, I don't know that it's gonna get up to 71.45. I hope, but I'm not real optimistic. We'll see what happens there. State budget has to be approved by May 10th, and then we'll have a little more accurate information for our budget. Recruit, attract, and retain highly qualified staff. I just want to mention the book tasting, because I just think PD is such an important, valuable part of that retention piece, that staff get exactly what they need. And I think that activity with the staff are gathering, or getting an opportunity to look through some educational books, and I heard a lot of talk about it. So I think it was just a really good opportunity for them to engage in some really good research, and will probably spur on some really nice conversations next year. I would anticipate that being pretty neat activity for them. And of course, we have 2 positions open right now, special education director, and not an instructional position, but we have the girls softball position still open. Those are all posted out. They're posted on our website. We're just watching and gathering info. Mentioned that MAP and EOC trainings were held during our April PD day. Just lots of plans taking place. And I want to shout out also to Ms. McClanahan, who's really done a heck of a lot for our district behind the scenes with our platform to make sure everything runs smoothly. Also to the teachers, because they're running through those practice tests. They've got those tickets where they can figure out if there's a problem, so that when we come time for actual testing, we don't have a situation where kids aren't able to get started on their test when they're supposed to. So everybody's been very proactive. Our principal's been very proactive with it. The planning is vastly different this year in that they really look at, especially at the elementary, really looked at the kids and where their best placement is and what they needed to test well, looked at those universal tools, made sure that they matched up with kids well. And so I think we've set up a much better testing environment for kids. And so I appreciate the time that's been spent to have those conversations. I know many planning sessions with the counselor at the elementary, and just really talking about with Dr. Bush, making sure that all of our kids have the best testing environment we can give them. So good setup. High school looking at some new programs for PLTW for the coming year. I know that that's just still in the works. You're talking and having those conversations, but the likelihood that as well as, it's not on here, but as well as potentially esports coming in as an opportunity for kids to take that as an elective, which is an up and coming thing.
Oh, it's a huge thing in colleges right now.
It's very big.
Huge scholarships. For that.
Yes.
Huge scholarships.
Huge. And so it's a good opportunity for us to take a peek at that. I know there's someone sitting in the room who's very excited about it and will be a very good asset to that if they get that up and running, because he's got quite an interest in it and can take care of the background. And that's Josh. So kind of excited about where maybe some of those classes that might be offered next year that aren't on there this year. Title I, you already kind of mentioned that. Got to present their data, looking at where their plans are to grow next year. Facilities and ground, just want to mention, we'll go over, we got the concrete and the tuck pointing bids for this evening, and then the parking lot ceiling and the lighting for the bus barn those bids end on May 1st. And then climate and culture, the surveys have been sent out to parents. They've been completed by the staff, completed by the students, and once we have that feedback, we'll take a look. What it is, it's the DESI one that we use, because we've used that in the past, and I think that way we can kind of compare a little bit. And so then we'll take a look at that data, get back to us and look at where our strengths are and weaknesses, look for areas for us to grow, and it'll help us just with some planning. I know you already talked about prom, and I just wanted to reiterate what a great success it was, and the time that Mrs. Peary and Ms. Hance put into that and leading that event. Of course, all the people that contributed to it. It's just a really nice event. And you love it when another student from another school says, this is better than ours. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's just nice for them to have that feeling about Newburg, because they wouldn't normally get to have that opportunity to share that. So, and then Mr. Wells, I can't say enough about what a great job he did with the honors band. It's such a big thing for anybody to take on. Then it's your first year. You don't know what it looked like last year. You got 9 schools and they're all coming here. And it was the only Frisco League event we hosted this year. So to me, that was a little extra added pressure, because opportunity for people to be walking in our halls and see how we do business. And he knocked it out of the park. He just did a phenomenal job. And as you said, the facilities, those comments, I mean, it's just really nice for people to walk around and say, this is really nice. this is such a nice place. And I talked to several people who said that. So our kids were great. The performance was wonderful, but I'm a bit of a music person, but I mean, it was really good. So I just kind of want to mention that as well. Right, any questions?
Now, one thing, I think we've talked about this in the past, but on the prom thing, I would like to see us consider a prom coordinator.
Ah,
And it'd be the same person, potentially, from year to year. We still have our sponsors that work with our classes, but because our sponsors can work great with kids, but some of them don't enjoy the prom side thing. And it's a big undertaking. So, but I would like to see us add that as an extra duty thing.
And sometimes you find somebody that really loves that, you know, like you're
There's a lady who ends up doing it most years since I've been here, involved in some way or another in this period. And she really enjoys it, but she would be one, I think, that would be interested in that position. And she does a fantastic job.
She definitely does.
Yes, phenomenal. She has a great eye for that. She really listens to the students and helps them grow their ideas for it. So I know I'm kind of promoting her, but she would be one, but we could fill it right off if we were to do that.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so I think it's something we should look at. It's very important to our kids, and sometimes there's downer years where they're just not as extravagant or whatever you want to call it as the one before. And I know they
It's
all
hard, it's
they
hard
all
to top
vary.
it every year.
It
though.
is, but they can be pretty solid each year. So if we have someone consistent.
I just want to add, not on prom, but just in some of your comments, particularly with Mr. Wells' concert, having people in the building. If there's people here that maybe probably not in this room, but that are in this area that don't believe that this place is, that we're making good strides and doing those, that's how you know you are.
Yeah.
When you're getting those
When you
comments
get outside
from those
people.
outside people go, oh man, you guys do a good job here. This place is nice. You know, it's that's where you
That
start
says a
seeing,
lot.
that starts building that culture different.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm happy to hear those things and continue on the path that you guys have been on, to continue that with. That's because, you know, what people see is 90% of it. It's like when you go out to eat. Food don't look good, it's never gonna taste good. It can look good and be so-so, and you think you had a pretty good meal.
Yeah.
You know, so keep up the good work on that.
Teacher said you eat with your eyes.
You do.
You do.
And you got to have a good color palette on your
She
plate
said you
too.
eat with your eyes.
And people judge with their eyes.
Absolutely.
That, you know,
Sure.
whether you like it or not, that's,
there were a lot of kids that walked in, man, this is nice. And then when you hear adults talk about the cleanliness too, it was just all, there were several comments.
good,
That's always
good.
good. That's always good to hear. Makes you feel better.
Well, you all have the hospitality room in here, and I came in and talked to somebody in here because he grew up in my hometown, and he does music over in Plato. So we were talking, and they were like, "This is a great room," like just stuff like that, just an off the cuff conversation. Just seemed to keep coming to us. They came to you, they came to me, and I'm like, "It is. We do have board meetings in here, and it really is a good space." And like, this is great. So it really was a good feeling.
We just got
All the way
to
around.
continue on that path that we've been on, and people are starting to notice the difference.
Any questions for Mrs. Kingsley? If not, we'll move on. We're on to our action and discussion items. First on the list is our bids for the tuck pointing on the two-story building, the whole high school building. I think we have two different bids there. You have them with you?
I do.
Oh, good.
Look at that. There's a hard copy.
What a deal.
Now that's the back part. It doesn't say much else. And then there's the other one.
There are two bids from BBR. One's from BBR Masonry, which was in your packet, but total,
Find it. Here's the, help a little bit. The BBR total was $250 an hour or 48,000.
here it is.
You see it there?
For the tech point.
Yeah.
Correct.
Am I on the right? Yes. And then the Pulaski County Masonry included the rental of the 65-foot lift. And that was 36,004.
The
And BBR did not include that.
include that. But he also said it would be $2 an hour up to $48,000. But no lift included. And then the Pulaski County was $36,400 with the lift included for the total project.
I've never heard of the second one, just that.
questions or comments on those? I do think it's something that we probably should go get done. We don't want to lose that building. We sure can't afford to.
Can't afford to replace it.
Can't afford to replace it, so I think, we're gonna have to do a little work to keep it up to par. And we're talking $45,000, so not that much. I have a direction the way they wanna go.
So is this? Yeah, it's the Pulaski County bid. Obviously, he's a little less descriptive. Is that just for the two-story, or is that for both buildings, or
For all of it, yes.
it's for all? Okay, not just the elementary or the two-story.
Yeah, I
It's for
think
the whole project.
Project's just the two-story.
That's just Tuck Point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just a
we're
two-story.
just talking about Tuck Point.
Yes, not.
Yeah, the BBR bid is not for both either. That's just.
Yeah, I see it's different. That's why I was asking on that.
I'm sorry.
Last year, we had an issue down at the elementary, and so we were looking for some suggestion or some bids on that. We decided not to pursue that. It was a one-time deal. Let's wait and see. Maybe that was just all that excess water we had or what was going on. So he had put a bid in at that time. So when this came up again, I reached out and said, would you want to bid on it? And he said it would be the same. So therefore, it's the same email. But we had clarification on there. He had separated those two out. That amount that's on here is just for the two-story. That's all we're looking to repair at this point.
he just didn't break it out.
And it's just because it was his old email originally. And so the Pulaski just bid on it this time. And so that's why it just
So he's
says,
at 48,000 without.
Without the lift.
So it would be an additional cost on us.
Additional cost on us lift.
So I don't know what a lift rental would be.
Well, I tell you, I just booked one.
Yeah,
mm,
it's expensive.
600 a day.
600 a day?
And I charge you 150 to deliver it, 150 to pick it up when you're done.
Well,
And a day's only 8 hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go over more than 8 hours on the hour meter, it's another $600. Even if you go to 9 hours, that makes it $1,200.
So if he's at 36, he's still higher, and there's an added cost of who knows how many days on it.
So we do know for sure that their bid does include the rental of the,
So rental of it
Yeah,
65.
it says it at the
It
bottom.
reads it on
And that's
the
what I just
bid.
rented, was a 65
Is
foot
it on
lift
here?
from Fabian, and it was $600.
Yes.
So, and that's,
For Pulaski.
I would say that two-story building.
no, I'm reading it, but to me,
Okay,
that
job.
made me question,
No,
does
that's
that mean he
separate
also
thing.
has to rent the lift? But I it's not what I was thinking.
Oh, it's okay. I read it as that,
Yes, I do. too.
labor
Okay.
and
At
material.
first I did.
understand.
I mean, that's
I
probably
didn't thought
a
about that.
2-week project.
Didn't occur to me.
At least a week, probably depends on. how
Oh, I
many
didn't
days.
either.
One day, guess what? You're still paying $600 for a lift.
It's all under that.
It is.
It's
I'm
all,
not
and
sure.
that's,
Under
and
what
it shows
they
it's total.
Yeah, under
It
what they
says
were
it's
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, to me, that means it's included.
yeah.
I
And he
agree.
put it as a total.
At first, it didn't mean that to me.
I see what I see.
I see how you read it.
I make a motion to go with this.
Motion by Mr. Thompson
Second,
to go with Pulaski County Masonry, second by Mr. Herzog. Any further discussion on that? If not, proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 4-0.
well, kinda. His bid was $250 an hour, up to 48,000.
You know it,
But yeah, they're gonna have it's a lot of hours.
there's a lot of.
And not like Gary, not like you, Gary.
Oh, yeah,
That's a big difference.
at the intersection. Still,
Yeah,
yeah,
That's a big-
12 grand.
If it was,
$12,000.
if it was $200, well,
That made it totally.
Now have bids for the concrete work.
I'd like to ask that we would table that till next meeting.
I agree with that, just because to me, there's some other projects that spending some money, and that's okay. We need to spend some money for different things. I know we have some other projects laying out there that the, like asphalt on the pavement.
Because we should have those
Parking lot.
bids by next month.
So I'd like to get some of those totals.
Yeah.
And the concrete work can be done fairly quickly, so I don't think we're in a time crunch to have that one done. We do need to get something lined up on the tough one, just so that we can get them in and out of here.
To me, that's a necessity.
That is-
And I'm not saying that's not, but we
No,
need
I'm
to
with you.
prioritize.
That,
Look and
that
see where
can
we're-
deteriorate.
I really think that's a really good idea. So we'll table this and we'll add it back on to May's agenda. Okay, budget. Yay. Let's bring that up, because that's so, we were having a good time doing it.
We were. Updated as much as I can right now. And I'm gonna, it's just a continuation, just keep working on things, keep working through things. I tried to lay out a little bit of a snapshot, maybe overview of some things to kind of just keep in mind and be aware of. It really is important for us to, I think, to recognize that our governor is a little more focused on privatization, and therefore that's gonna lay the groundwork for the next few years. And so, open enrollment, things like that, it feels like there's funding shifts, maybe that will not benefit public education, so I just want to mention that. Some positive highlights, of course, are the AV coming out of Phelps County. Baseline grant is expected to be funded. Career ladder is expected to be funded. Of course, that's 60% state funded, 40% us. And then we are now, because we have fallen below the 350 students, are now receiving the small schools grant, which is $141,581. Some changes in this budget right now from last year, or from our current year. All staff have increased by their yearly step, just taking that year of experience, and that's all been laid in there. Something that's new this year because of the legislation that passed last year on House Bill 727, I believe it was that baseline now is not just for all teachers, but if they have a master's degree plus 10 years experience, then they are to be at the $46,000 mark. So that was a new layer we had to put into our salary scale. So that is in there. Also along the lines of that, we have 3 retirees that hold a master's degree. And even though they don't have 10 years in our district, it would feel unfair to me to not put them on 46,000 when we're saying as a state law, if they have 10 years experience, they should be at 46,000. So I have moved those 3 over to that place. Did not know that was going to happen, but with that new piece, I felt like that was the thing to do. So that, in what you all are seeing, they have been moved over to that spot. There's a new salary column for district administrative assistant. Just reflects a little more the district, the responsibilities and roles that has taken on. That central office really was on the same scale as secretary. And so, but has more of a leadership role and does far more. So that's recommended in there. New salary for our IT specialist, not yet a director, but many leadership responsibilities. So not on director pay yet, but not really over here where we originally started. No robotic stipends to be funded for now. We just need someone who leads this. We can't really pay that out or put that in until we have somebody who really is passionate about robotics and wants to lead it. So those have been taken out. A para needs for next year. We're looking at 2 one-on-ones and possible kindergarten, depending on numbers. So right now at 14, there would be no para in there. But if you get up, to 20 or 21, potentially going to need to consider a para. Depends on the kind of kids coming in and what kind of needs we're seeing in there, but that could be a possibility there. So that is figured in as of now. I did not include the Wolf addendum because that was an extra we did last year because we had those excess funds. We wanted to recognize all the returning staff and so forth. And so that has come out of there as it sits right now. So we make a decision if we want to put something in there. We don't have any students planning to go to RTI next year, which is higher than Waynesville. We have right now not expecting any 8th graders to come from Edgar. Disappointing, but that is what we currently are sitting at. And then our WADA is down by 25. So that is a decrease in the funding that we receive because that number is quite a bit. So just giving a little picture of some of the unknowns, kind of mentioned earlier about the SAT, it makes a big difference. Just looking, those numbers that I pulled off there, the negative 31,000 and the positive 113, that's just in our operating budget. Just kind of seeing, I put it in both ways, so you kind of see if they funded it at 71.45, where we'd be sitting, and if they funded it at 67.60, where we'd be sitting. So you just kind of had an idea. And of course, that brings in, you know, our money that we have from this year, that, you know, that the whole picture of it. State budget, I already mentioned there, May 10th is the deadline to pass. So at that point, we'll know what those numbers are, and we can really deal with a little bit more of a better picture. We also have not, I keep checking back, but we don't know what our Title I funding will be this year. Next year, this year, 212,000. It's a lot of money. I mean, we use it really, really well. And we've got good plans for that money, but we don't know what's coming down. I think it will. I think it will be funded. But with the way the federal government's working right now, how that's all going to lay out, I just don't know what that's going to look like. And then I don't know yet about our SPED funding numbers. So just keep monitoring that. So any thoughts or feedback or questions or direction that you want to share with me?
What's the SAT funding?
6760.
So that is where it's currently at. That's
So
where-
they had anticipated, they had it laid out that we needed to increase that. So they had, it's going to be 6760 this year. It's going to be 7145 next year. It was stuck for a long time.
Right,
So they laid that out and then they went, maybe not.
okay.
I think this open enrollment thing is,
So your governor's already said pretty much he's gonna hold it 67.
We think it's probably going to be there.
That's what the email said. Came out.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
pretty much,
I'm just thinking about all the debate that could happen on the Senate floor with this open
Yeah.
enrollment. I was just cracking open a tiny bit of
I
hope
mean,
that maybe
there's
there's
still a
something
lot of possibility, a lot of unknowns, and it's hard to plan with unknowns.
in your current budget that you have here for us looking at.
Yeah.
You had all those expenses in there that you just mentioned. Did you put in 12%
Yes.
increase for revenue, or
Yes.
did you leave it alone?
Nope, I put it in. Put in the best knowledge that I had.
You got the bus in there.
I do have a bus in there,
But-
and I made it to 120 instead of 90. Because I felt like I need to have it for a while.
Which you may or may not need, but still yet needs to be in.
Yeah, we may or may not need it.
Right, but
Yeah.
it needs to be in the budget, I think. Just
Plan for it?
Yeah.
Yep.
If we have the extra money to hold over, then fine, if not, then not. Part that's concerning just a little bit is the wolf addendum that's not in there. It's gonna be hard not to cut back.
We already did it one.
That's $54,000.
Yeah, I figured it up the other night. I put the amount 58,250 was my chicken scratch estimate there. What that would be with our current staff.
Right, so right now, the only thing that we really have increased is
Just
insurance.
Yes,
Insurance. Now you figured in the step
I figured I went in and gave them the
Right.
step, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we did on
and the insurance.
there's 80,000 in right now and we need to go up to 102. Oh, you mean, are you talking about medical? Or are you talking about? Medical's all figured in, yeah.
Because that went up about 20.
All of that's been updated.
And with those numbers, you're showing deficit of 30,
On the operating budget.
about that.
Yep.
Keep in mind, our reserves are at 70-some%. We want to bring those down a
Bring it
little
down
bit.
some.
So my first response when I saw the deficit, I thought, we can't do that. We can't deficit spend. They can't work.
We're going to, if we're going to.
But if
That's
we're
not
going
even here.
to bring the reserves down, there's only one way to do that.
But it
That's
depends
deficit
on
spend.
what we're spending that on.
I agree. Yes,
So
we have to be careful what we spend
Our
on.
Yeah, we
deficit
recur
spending
costs.
can't be because we're only paying salaries.
Correct. I agree with that. We gotta, that's why I also wanted to hold on the concrete bid till we receive
We know.
the rest of the others.
so we can use.
Because if we can kind of keep a handle of how much we bring that reserve down, we'll be smart. Think about that. We want to gently bring that reserve down, not just take it down to 30 tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
So we just need to be cautious. Let's see what the state budget comes out.
Well, and it just seems like there's a lot of turmoil right now, what's gonna happen.
Sure.
So short term, you may have to just make an adjustment to get to where we found, like I said, you can't plan on stuff that you don't know.
It's
There's-
very difficult to do that. But that's what all school finance is. Every year,
It's
it's
a game
another,
Yes.
you're planning on something that you don't know.
Until May though, we really, I mean, we can sit here and be negative or positive.
No need to worry about it right now. We're still early in the game, and we don't have to pass it till June.
Yeah, so we got time, so.
Still yet, June will be here.
Yeah, soon.
So having it in our hands to look at, positive on it.
There's just a thought process.
Yeah, just start looking. Kind of start looking. You've got your budget from last year, and Tony, I can send you that budget from last year, so you have it, so that we can kind of compare some numbers.
Comparison, okay.
I'll send a worksheet to you, so you can just, it'll look exactly the same as what you have in your packet.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions about the budget for Mrs. Kingsley? I know it's tedious, I know that we have the one gentleman that helps a little bit with that.
Mhm.
He's good,
He's great,
he's
yeah.
good at that.
And when I see something, I go, I don't think that's right. You know, I really felt like something was off on the water page. And so I sent it back to him and I said, this can't be right. It can't, this does not make sense. And he looked at it closely, got back to me, gave me an explanation. I went, okay. It's just a,
So, thinking about that, so we lost 25 for next year. Do we know how many we'll lose next year? He'll know that.
we don't have it on that page, but I can,
Yeah, I know,
yeah,
but he'll know that.
yeah,
Let's see if we can get that
I
done.
can do that.
That way that we kind of
Yeah,
have,
anticipated.
that's what drives your.
That would help.
Your foundation.
What you spend this year.
So that will kind of dictate how we bring that reserve down.
Well,
Now-
we're getting close to the point of, we're gonna have to start looking at class schedules, what we're offering, who's providing that teaching for that, all of that.
I agree.
We're getting to the point where we have to start thinking about the tough questions. And that's unfortunate for us, so. And especially if open enrollment hits us in a negative way.
Open enrollment hurts us and our enrollment keeps going down. We'll have no choice but to look at those numbers.
I mean, we could be lucky and we gain a few kids
Mhm.
to compensate what we lose, and
Mhm.
because we do have a lot of good things to offer,
Oh, we do.
so.
Now, you mentioned just a minute ago, in the governor's budget for career ladder, they're gonna fund it at 60%. Didn't they fund it 100% last year?
No, I think it's the same.
60/40. I looked into that real closely because
I thought it was
it's
the
a
same.
conversation our superintendents had.
Yeah.
And I thought it was
Was it
100%.
the year before that then that they
I think
put in
so.
the whole
It
100%?
might
It
have-
wasn't that long.
Or maybe a year before.
It was a
that.
couple
Last-
years ago.
It wasn't,
I didn't
this year,
fool with
but
funding then, but I thought it wasn't very long.
it's
ago.
within a couple of years ago.
It did happen, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You're not imagining.
I thought I had that. I just couldn't remember that not being the
Yeah.
case for this year. That's not the case, and we know that.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions at all? All right. We'll move on for setting our May date. I have it as May 15th. For the third Thursday, that's
What do you-
early.
Spring
That's
band
early.
concert
Okay,
is the same night as the only
What date? I didn't-
May 15th.
Let's push it back to the 20th.
I have had a difficult time getting some of these bills in.
well, the credit card bill when it gets
Suppose
to you.
they're promising that their new system is gonna be up and moving
Yeah.
in May,
Okay.
but that's not happened yet. There are a few others that just happen
That's what I
right
was
at that
thinking
date.
about.
It's just crazy times, day before school gets out. Although, I mean, we could probably make it,
It'd be better than the 15th, wouldn't it?
For bills.
it'd probably be better for bills,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is for bills, but
Definitely.
I think it'll probably be better for.
As long as you don't do it the following week.
Why not?
I'll be here, so.
We're not doing it the following week.
We're not going floating around in the pool again,
I
are
make a
we?
motion that we move it to the 22nd.
That work for
I think,
others?
yeah, I think we got past graduation, things will be a lot less chaotic.
He can think that.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Well,
I'm
you
kidding.
know,
Elementary water day. I know the big water
Um,
event up there.
guess
That's
I
the only
probably
thing
did
that's
put that
actually on the schedule,
18th.
master schedule
Huh?
wise. But I don't
18th.
know if there's anything else that, that's just not on
Correct. Graduation's May 18th,
correct, yeah.
2:00.
Do I have to be there present for that?
You're supposed to be.
I may,
2:00.
Hey, and you have to wear
Do
a
you have
tie.
to be?
Probably,
They-
I've
they
got-
yell
I've
at you
got
if you
one.
I
2 p.m.?
may not be
The
here.
I
yellow
don't have the
keeps
time on my
you.
calendar,
My
but
niece is
whatever's
graduating.
customary. I'll have to check. Probably. That
Roughly.
sounds, I'll have to confirm that. I don't have the time on my calendar, but
2:00,
whatever,
yes.
whatever's customary is what it would be.
It's usually
Yeah.
two.
You don't have choice. It's 2:00.
there.
It's one of those things. But
Yep.
done.
Yep. I don't have a problem with the 22nd.
Everybody else work okay for 22nd over here?
Thanks.
Mr. Simley,
I think Adam made a motion, I'll second.
Baby.
Rebecca? Josh, we don't really care if you can be here or not. so-
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. buddy. You're the one of the most important people in this room. All the technology works because of you, or a lot of it does.
Thank you.
I hear good things.
True that, true that.
Okay, so a motion made, Mr. Birdsong, to move, we'd love to have a motion to change. A motion to move our board meeting to the 4th Thursday, which will be the 22nd of May, at 6:30 PM. Is there a second? Mr. Thompson, seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 4-0. Okay,
As the day before school gets out, and on my calendar, it came up as 6:30 to 7:30, so we'll take a walk. Kidding.
okay. Any
Yes,
further-
it'd be
anything
fine.
further? Not, we need a motion to adjourn.
You need
We will
to
not
do
be
the
going
other,
into
you
executive.
need to do the other action item. that
Oh,
we
Oh,
have.
about missed that one. Wrote it down here.
Hey, easy now.
I do.
Get ahead of yourself.
For item E, we have a board member resignation letter. I'm gonna read the letter dated 4/16/2025. Addressed to me, Mr. Smith, the president of the board for Newburg R2 School District. I'm writing to formally resign from my position in the Newburg School Board of Education effective immediately 4/16/2025. It's been an honor to serve on the board and contribute to the success of our students, teachers, and community. This decision was not made lightly, but after careful consideration, I believe it is the right time for me to step aside and allow someone else the opportunity to serve. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Sincerely, Mr. Dusty Shushank. So we will have a opening for our board. It will be a one-year term. It'll be a one-year term. We'll go through applications, we'll go through interviews, and all of the application process and the interview process is done in open session. And the appointment of the individual, is done in open session. Just to clarify. Everybody good with opening that up immediately, taking applications to the next board meeting? We can look at that and go from there. If we have more than 3, you have to cut to 3. And then we'll set a night for
Interview stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll look at them at the next
At the
board
next
meeting,
board
so it'll be after that. So probably sometime in
yes,
June-ish.
yes.
Okay.
Does that sound okay? I'm just going off what I think.
That's kind of how we did it last time. I
It's
think.
very typical how we've been doing it. We need a motion to accept Mr. Shushank's resignation. Motion, Mr. Thompson, second, Mr. Shear. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Okay. Now we can adjourn.
Now we can adjourn.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thompson,
Second.
second, Mr. Birdsong.
I was waiting,
I
Tony.
have to make sure you're still awake.
I think Adam was asleep.
Tony's been on
All
it
those in
tonight. so
favor?
I've earned enough
Motion
money over the years, but you've got time to catch it.
You burned your money.
Every time you do that, you get another zero added on front of your paycheck.
On the front of it.
Right. Oh, sorry, okay.